What's up, Dunwoody? Welcome back to the podcast. It's all about Dunwoody, Georgia. My name is Matt Weber. Show is brought to you by Dr. Brett Friedman with Village Orthodontics and Discover Dunwoody. And today we're doing some Wildcat football talk with Coach Matt Schmitz. I've already tried to record this twice, so we're just going to go with it from here. But Matt was a new friend I met at the parade last week and wanted him to come on and tell us a little bit about Wildcat football because he's going to be an 8th grader this year. That'll be there next year. And I know nothing about Dunwoody Wildcat football, except from Coach Nash. And that was more pool talk.
Right.
I see him at the local neighborhood pool. But tell us a little bit about Wildcat football. We can get into where you came from and, how long you've been around. And
yeah, sure thing. One thing Coach Nash told me when I moved here, when I took the job as his assistant offense coordinator, is if you love Dunwoody, he'll love you back. That's something that I have seen in droves, over the past 3 years. And, I think that is the neatest thing about Dunwoody, is it's still a little bubble. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like a little bubble of a community in this big metro area. And, the good that comes from that is just the people that are vested, in this football program. Right. And, we've started our Junior Wildcats, which is 6th through 8th grade. We're going to start a flag football, which is 3rd grade and up. And I think just the main way to kind of summarize Dunwoody is just like the community is a bubble, our football program is a bubble, and it's all working together. A lot of pride, that is involved with it. And, so I'm just blessed to be here, for all those
Is that
reasons.
A newer thing, having like a club team, like developing the kids? Is that new here in Dunwoody?
It is.
Where I'm from, we had like a breeding ground in Gwinnett,
Right. Right. It's the same way. We want to create a breeding ground. That's one of the things Coach Nash did about halfway through his tenure. He started the Junior Wildcats and kind of took it away from the middle school model for, various reasons. But now, from grade 6 through 12, it's one program. Of course, it's adapted by age and skill level and whatnot. But we work with the same booster club. We call our plays the same. Our varsity coaches work with our middle school kids. So it's pretty much one program, one heartbeat, grade 6
That's
through
cool.
12.
Yeah, definitely a good way of doing it. Because before I feel like everybody was in Sandy Springs or you said a middle school program. There was actually a middle school program at the
right.
teacher?
And that's something that actually DeKalb County has really strengthened, in the past 4 or 5 years. But like I said, we're just unique, we're a unique spot, especially in DeKalb County to where, we feel that this avenue, having like a basically Junior Wildcat program serviced us, better than the middle school did.
Yeah, absolutely. We're different for DeKalb, I feel like.
Correct.
And I know you've got some special kids. Coach Nash was always telling me about specific kids that, like really help run the program. And so at Dunwoody, I know you've got a lot of really good kids. So Coach Nash was our parade grand marshal. Yeah. And he stepped away after over 10 years of coaching.
10 years. Yeah, 10 years.
Is it hard taking over for somebody that's been there that long? I guess you kind of knew a lot about it.
Yeah, that was definitely a plus. You know what I mean? He's still a phone call away if I have a question. Everything from how to turn the lights on to, who do I hit up for money? So he's still a huge resource and just the like I said, the thing that like in the previous question, just how this program is, and it really took me in as an outsider, so to speak. And I think that's it's not the toughest thing, but there's a little bit of pressure to keep this thing going. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just because of my personal relationship with Mike. He's built this thing so far that there's some personal, want to keep this thing rolling the way he built it and to do good by him.
Right. And then you got to also implement your own ideas, which after 10 years is probably tough to, fit those in there too. But
yeah,
where have you coached in the past?
I have, my first 8 years in coaching, I was in college ball at various different levels, various different schools, and various different roles. In the past 11 years, I've been in high school football. Pretty much all up and down I-75. I've coached in Clinton, Tennessee. I've coached just outside of Cincinnati. I've coached in Tampa, and now I'm here in Atlanta. So,
okay. You like it here?
I do. I do. I
Yeah.
really do. It's funny. I'll be honest. I said I'd never live in Atlanta. I'm from Cincinnati and made a lot of trips to Florida, and just the traffic and just so big. And, but there's a saying I believe in is God chuckles at your plans, and
Yeah.
so he brought me here, and, I'm going to be in Dunwoody till they get rid of me.
That's awesome. And so you kick off the season August 16th, right?
Correct.
Corky Kell
Yep.
Classic.
Correct.
And is that where it used to be at the Dome? I guess now
It
it's at
is. It is. We
Mercedes-Benz. Is that
are
right?
10 a.m. on that Saturday. We're the first game of the day at Mercedes-Benz.
Or
So,
Mercedes-Benz. That's
yep.
awesome. Yeah, growing up, Brookwood High School, Gwinnett, we the Corky Kell Classic was always a big deal
Right.
every year. Like all the kids win, all dressed up and stuff. And
Right. Right.
that's cool. Brings back some memories. And so, from what ChatGPT has told me about your football coaching, I see aggressive, high yardage plays. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, we're always attack. You know what I mean? That's kind of the motto of our offense is attack.
Yeah.
Even each year, the kind of offense takes its own identity. My system's my system. It's been the same way for dang near 20 years now. But every season, you have strengths and weaknesses of your team that you got to adapt and kind of position them to be successful within the system. So,
Yeah.
we might have a little different look to us than we have in the past. We've been slinging it quite a bit in the past couple of years we had two Division I receivers, and we had a quarterback that's the best I've ever had in my 20 plus years.
Yeah.
So we were tailored it to them. Now we might tweak it a little bit, be a little more balanced. But yeah, I mean, we'll attack. Like I said, that's kind of our motto. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So when I moved here, like I said, I know nothing about football
right.
at Dunwoody High School. So how many games are played at the high school now?
Just our JV games right now.
Just the JV games.
Just
Okay.
our JV foot. Like there has to be, I believe there's a GHSA rule that capacity has to be 3,000 or over, or there's
Okay.
some number there for varsity games, and we just don't have that yet. So our Junior Wildcats, which I spoke of, and our JV teams get to play there, which is kind of exciting. They have their
Yeah,
own
that's
home
nice.
field. For now, we're still sharing North DeKalb with Chambly.
Yeah.
But we make it do. I mean, who knows? In the future, maybe we have our own stadium, we can hold a big enough thing. But right
Yeah.
now we share with Chambly, and you know, we kind of want to take control of that space. So,
Right. Right. Is that a
yeah,
little different for you? Most of the places you've been probably have their own stadium, have their
yeah,
own
it's a
field.
little bit different. It definitely is. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's still a football game. I mean, we
Yeah.
have some big crowds, which that really is kind of different about Georgia football than any of the places I've been. I think for Pius and Chambly, the past couple of years, we've had like 6 to 7 thousand plus. So that would
Wow.
dwarf our little stadium right now. So yeah, it has its
Yeah.
pluses. You get a big stadium like that, you can get a big crowd. Oh,
Okay.
mm.
So Chambly and Pius, those are the ones should take my boys to, huh? Those
Yeah,
are the big
those
deals
are
for
those are
Dunwoody.
the rivalry games.
Biggest rivalry.
Chambly, obviously, just common sense. You're right across 285 from each other, and you share a stadium. And then
Yeah.
Pius, my first 2 years we played them. They're in our region. Of course, this year we kick off with them. So, I mean, as you know, being from Dunwoody, our kids know their kids. There's a lot of crisscross. I
Yeah.
mean, they live. A lot of their players live over here, which, that kind of pisses me off a little bit. I'd like them to be here, but
Yeah.
maybe in time we can, get a hold on those kids.
Yeah, well, a lot of our guys play there probably too. Like I know with Kittredge, my son was real
Correct.
close to going to Kittredge, and he would have been in that Chambly program. My wife went to
Cor-
Chambly, and so
Okay.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
that's definitely a
Oh,
game we need to show up to.
right. Right.
They do have some big name coaches though. I'll give them
Oh
that.
yeah. Oh yeah. They
It was
definitely
an interesting off season.
couple hall of or at least one Hall of Famer. I don't know if Lewis is in the Hall of Fame, but
Yeah,
definitely talented enough to be. So yeah, their coaching staff is a little bit, differently made up than ours.
yeah,
So
for sure, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Well, cool. Well, I mean, what are some of your favorite things about Dunwoody
And like I said, the
or
bubble.
the high
You know what I
school?
mean? I mean, I remember when I interviewed for this job in the spring of 22, I guess it was. I was showing up and I see kids walking to school still with their backpacks on. You know what I mean? I just think that's
Yeah,
really cool. I mean, the homecoming parade is still a hit where, homecoming is, not as celebrated as it probably was, 20 years ago.
yeah,
I mean, just all kinds of support. Our Gridiron Club, who's our booster club, I mean, they do a lot of the stuff, that a lot of high school coaches and smaller programs have to do.
have
So
to
the
do
support
themselves.
there is
Yeah,
amazing. and just our kids, man. I mean, like you said, we have a lot of good kids. I mean,
Yeah.
both on the football team and in the school, So, I mean,
Right.
my Monday through Friday teaching job's a pretty good job too, which,
Yeah.
at some schools, teachers, coaches have to put up with all kinds of problems. I mean, at Dunwoody, we don't have those problems.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. I mean, we don't have enough time for all the pluses. You know what I mean? That Dunwoody has done for me and my family and our football program.
Yeah.
We're just like I said, man. We just want to make this place proud.
What do you coach? I mean, what do you teach during the week?
I teach PE. I teach
PE. Okay.
PE. So yeah, we have a great PE staff. Whether it's weight training or sometimes I just have general PE. You know what I mean, with kids who want to credit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I'm the stereotypical high school PE coach. A little bit in that respect. So
That's cool.
yeah,
What's the summer like with the football team? You guys amped up already, and
yeah. I
you had
mean,
like
yeah, we've been going hard for about 5 weeks consistently.
okay.
We had 3 weeks in June. That June's a little funny because we share it with basketball, we share it with baseball, we share it with different camps, wrestling. So we don't have all our players during June. But
Yeah.
I mean, July it's football time, and this week is heat acclimation to where we're allowed to wear our helmets for the first time. So it is. It has turned the corner starting yesterday from like summer workouts to football. Like
Yeah. The
we're in
actual
the middle
football.
of it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What's up, everybody? I'm Woody, your friendly Dunwoody AI Golden Doodle. Discover Dunwoody is all about community engagement. They work closely with local residents and businesses to foster a sense of pride and ownership in our city. This collaboration not only enhances the visitor experience, but also ensures that our local economy thrives. By involving everyone in their promotional efforts, Discover Dunwoody creates a welcoming atmosphere for visitors. If you're passionate about our community, be sure to follow at Discover Dunwoody on social media for updates on local initiatives. If you know anyone planning a trip to Dunwoody, direct them to whatsupdunwoody.com/hotels to find great hotel options. When they book through that link, they're directly supporting this show. Don't forget to check out whatsupdunwoody.com/events to find out what's going on around town. Let's come together to celebrate and support our vibrant community. So you've made the playoffs the last two seasons, right? 23 and 24, and so this will be 25. Are
correct.
you gonna make the playoffs again?
Yeah, that's one of the things I sold in my interview is that the playoffs is the floor. You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
shouldn't be in the basement. You know what I mean? We should be on that first floor minimum, and then eventually wanting to make a run. A lot of times, you get luck of the draw on what region you're matched up with. The
Mm.
past 2 years we were matched up with Lee County and Langston Hughes, who
That's
are
football
both.
country there.
Oh yeah, they're top. I mean, the Langston Hughes team we played last year might have been the most talented football team I've ever seen on the high
Yeah.
school level, and they're really well coached too. It wasn't just talent. So we've ran into a couple of freight trains, the past 2 years, but yeah, man, we should be in the playoffs every year. I feel pretty
Yeah.
comfortable saying that.
Well, are you guys 6A or 7A? How's that
We're
work?
5A. We're
5A.
5A now.
Okay.
Yep, there isn't a 7A anymore. So
Okay.
6A is the top. So now we're the second highest.
Okay. Is that where you think you should be? I guess does it go by size of school?
It does. It does. We're right in the middle. You know what I mean? Of
Okay.
5A, we're right in the middle, right there. Yeah, this is where we should be.
Okay. I
Yeah,
think you were in a higher division at one point, right?
we were, and that was some of the lean years that Coach
It
Nash
is.
had early on. They were in 7A, and they were playing some really heavy hitters.
Yeah, those Gwinnett teams.
Correct. So,
Well, yeah. So tell me a little bit. Tell me about the coaching staff. Who are some
uh,
of your favorites?
um,
You got to name everybody now.
yeah. Now I got to name
I'm just kidding.
everybody. Well, we've got a lot of continuity on the staff, which is huge for me. Again,
That's
kind
good
of
for
like the
somebody stepping
players.
down. You know,
What's that?
that's good
Yes.
for when Nash is stepping down. You need a lot of continuity moving forward.
Correct. I think the only one we lost besides Coach Nash was our offensive line coach, who's Coach Nash's son-in-law, and
Okay.
was one of the reasons for the move was to get him down by where his family's from.
Yeah, so I heard.
But we replaced him with a guy named Jacob Smith, who was an offense coordinator of a kind of a state power up in Tennessee, and he's from Atlanta, so wanted to move back home. And I mean, he's special. You know what I mean? As an offensive line coach, he is really special, and has been able to take some responsibility off me because I'm still the offensive coordinator and the quarterback coach. So as I'm kind of balancing those hats, I need to be able to delegate to strong people, and
Yeah.
he's been a huge plus. And then I mean, our two coordinators stayed the same. Two other ones we have Ryan Gentry. He's our defense coordinator. He's came in with me, so we came in together that spring of 22. And then our special teams coordinator and our strength coach is Bill Seferati, this is going on his third year. And the game we've tweaked a little bit what we were doing in the weight room in between what
Mhm.
Nash and now my tenure, and our gains have been, I mean, incredible. And then finally, kind of like my right hand man is Dale Myers. He's an assistant head coach. He's our defensive line coach. He's been a head coach before. He's got over 20 years experience. He's great in academics. He's kind of that guy I lean on. I mean, as far not football wise, but just as far as everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like before I came on this podcast, I got some advice to him. Before I deal
Yeah.
with a parent, I ask about him. He's just that sounding board, and sometimes I take his advice, sometimes I don't. You know what I mean? But I at
Right.
least want to listen to him. So I mean, he's a rock for me.
Yeah.
So,
And I mean, Dunwoody's such a good school. Do you have a hard time, not taking the kids away from their academics, but a lot of most parents and most kids at this point, I know my son is really into his academics, and so
right.
football would be like a side thing.
Yeah, it's
Is that a little different than some of your schools that you've been at?
it definitely is a little different.
Which you have
But
to
it's
respect,
also
that's great.
right, but it's not a plus or a minus. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you just keep the football hat on, you're worried about X amount of hours we're losing. For example, we have a weight training class. We want all of our football players in that weight training class, at least in the fall. And some schools you're at, that's not a question. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Boom, football players are in, guidance counselors put them in. They even get in like first block, all of them in together.
Yeah.
Here we've got to maneuver with AP classes and work study and dual enrollment and all
Right.
these opportunities that are, phenomenal for kids. Don't get me wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we also want to manage their workload, and we've done things like we've researched with with admissions offices at different schools to see exactly how many AP credits are, the goal. We don't want to
Right.
overdo it, and then we can kind of convince parents, hey, maybe don't do 15, just do 12, and let us have a couple
Yeah.
football classes. But it's that's something we got to help with. You know what I mean? We got to show the kids. We got to do our research. We got to work with parents and not try to like put our foot down, but just have a cooperation and communication,
Yeah.
and because it is important. I
It
mean, it
is
is
important. The
important. You're
schools
trying to win high
change.
school football in Georgia, and if you don't have your kids in a weight training class, you're losing 7 hours a week against your opponents. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
it is important, but it's not the end of the world. We got to adapt, to what we got here.
Yeah. And I mean,
Yeah,
things have changed since we were there. Like I work with a lot of younger kids, and it's all about the AP classes and getting
exactly.
as much done early as you can. Like I don't remember ever. My niece is going into high school, and she's taking classes this summer to like get ready for high school and try to like get ahead. And
Right.
wow, that
Uh,
is just. I mean, when I was there, I was taking 4 slack classes completely.
right.
That was what everybody did.
Right. And the AP classes, the one I don't get, and I joke around with our kids about, is the dual enrollment in the works. I'm
Yeah.
like, why do you want to grow up faster?
Yeah.
Why do you want to go to college with a semester finish? Spend those 8
Take
semesters
advantage
and
of
have
this.
fun.
I don't think
So
they
that one,
realize that this is like the coolest part of their life. Like this
exactly.
is the most relaxed that they
Right,
get.
right. No one's gonna hire you at 20 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So pump the brakes a little bit. But
Yeah.
like I
And
said, I
sports
mean,
are
it's
so
just
important for that too.
correct.
Like as growing up, like that was one of the main reasons I've just kind of forced my kids to do something sports related is I mean, I grew up that way, and it's team building, and it's, getting used to scheduling your day and,
Right,
doing the
right,
things that are most important to
right.
you.
It
So
gives you structure. You know what I mean? I
yeah.
think like part of one of the things we're trying to institute is a nutrition program. Our kids either eat like crap or they eat too little. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They eat like the same diets their parents are on. So we're just trying to
Right.
load them up with calories and carbs, whether it be protein shakes. We got Fresh Market in Dunwoody that's donating fruit to us every week.
Oh, nice.
So that's something along with the football class. We're trying to show parents it's more than just banging out weights. You know what I mean? We're
Yeah.
going to feed them. We're going to, do study hall with them. Of course, we're going to lift weights with them. And, there's so many studies that show if you do something physical during the day, it helps you out in the classroom as well. So
Yeah.
it's a bargaining right now with our parents, understanding their concerns in what they value, as well as trying to show them what we're trying to do as a program. So,
Yeah. And there's two types of parents. Some of them are obsessed with football and want, everything for their child. And some of them are pulling them back and, pushing them more into academic roles.
I'd much rather have it here. Last place I was a head coach at in Newport, Kentucky, very little parental involvement. It was an inner city school. It was 90 something percent free and reduced lunch, so a lot different demographic. And, on our senior night, we had 13 seniors and I had to find 4 people to walk because no one showed up. You know what I mean? My wife had to walk with a kid. A teacher had to walk with a kid. So you see that lack of involvement and, like kids who need it. You can deal with the ones that are a little too involved because that at the end of the day, they love their kid. I mean, they're doing what they feel is best for their kid. And, they're our customers, we got to serve them. It's just customer service. The parents are our customers. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, you got a lot to live up to. It seems like most of the parents love Coach Nash.
Yeah, they definitely do. That's one thing when I took the job here, because, they hadn't had much success, but everywhere he goes, they loved him, and we would go to Dunwoody Tavern for wings and people would just flock to him. And it's like, oh, Coach Nash gave him hugs, And that was I was like, wow, you know what I mean? Because some places you be, especially in Georgia, you have 5 or 6 tough seasons. They're trying to freaking run you out and putting for sale signs in your yard, And everyone loved Mike, and that's probably the biggest shoes I have to fill. Football is football, but just being that presence in the community and just showing people I care. You know what I mean? That's something I got to be intentional about.
Absolutely. In this town, it is for sure. Well, cool. Yeah. So August, what is it?
16th.
Right here in front of me. August 16th, Corky Kell Classic. I'm gonna show up to a few games this year. I promise you that. So
come on.
Hopefully the community will show up as well.
I think they will. That will be a fun one. What an opportunity, to play in the Benz. It's something these kids are going to remember their whole life. I mean, something coaches are going to remember their whole life. Our band is going to remember. Our cheerleaders are going to remember. I mean, what an opportunity. Now but at 1:00, if we got an L, it's going to hurt just like an L. The Benz is going out the window. So it's still a football game to be played on that day.
Absolutely. All right. Well, maybe we can check in with you later in the season, or
that'd be great. Maybe get some kids on here, because they're the show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just a puppeteer. You know what I mean? They're the show. So
yeah. Absolutely. And whenever I have, teenagers on the show, it always goes really well. They're easy to talk to. They're just used to Zoom calls and that kind of stuff.
Especially our kids. Again, that's something with Dunwoody, man. Well-spoken. It really is. They've experienced life. You know what I mean? They're not, it's like I said, man, these are special kids. So
for sure. Well, cool. Yeah. Well, thanks for being part of it. And thanks for coming on the show. And I will talk to you later.
For sure. I appreciate it, Matt.